Hey everybody, it is Mike Greenberg, Jen Greenberg's husband. I wanted to make a quick video for you, for people that are shooting for elite on our team, and for any other team that's watching this. As you know, we're a three-time elite coach going for four-time elite. And I had a Zoom call today with somebody else that was going for elite. We've been going together every week, and trying to get the path to elite. Because believe it or not, the majority of getting to elite is a lot of strategy, and it's strategy you have to plan for now. You need to really make that goal of being an elite or a premier coach and deciding what you're going to do and what you're going to be willing to do to get there. But in order to get there, you must make out a roadmap. So what my intentions are here is to kind of show you how I go about looking at the roadmap to see if we are on track for elite for this year. And I start every month in month one. Now, of course, at the time of this video, it is the last week of March. So what's the first thing you should do? Number one, you've made a decision that you're either going to be elite or premier. What are the qualifications? Now, you may or may not know this, but if you go to my business and you go to my qualifications and go over to my elite and premier qualifications, it'll show you exactly what you need to do, including the FAQs, 945 and 946. And this will let you know what you need to do to be elite. So right now, it shows our current elite ranking as coach number 263. So the way they changed it in 2015 is only the top 200 coaches are going to receive the $500 bonus every month, and over 200 is going to receive a $100 bonus. As many of you know, that Jennifer placed number 201, so she missed it by one person. So there's always got to be a 201, right? If there's a top 10, there's always got to be another 11. We know number 11, and so now you know 201. So what we see from here is from this, we can actually decide everything that we need to do. So just to go over some of the qualifications and the things you need, you obviously need to advance two coaches to Diamond in 2016, but they've changed some of the rules, meaning that they don't have to be Diamond on the last week, on the last night of the year, but have to maintain in that month. And also you have to, like I said, advance two people to Diamond. How do you get points? You get points by one point in ATV. We'll go over the sections. You have ATV, you have PV, which is personal volume of your 2016 coaches for this year, which is current year coaches, and you get points for coaches that are current year and previous year Success Club earners. And you get points. So for ATV, which is the first one as it shows on the list, we'll scroll down here, incremental ATV, you get 1 point for every 10,000 points above last year's numbers. So using this as an example, we had a previous year's ATV of 1,290,574, and our current year ATV is 229,324. So based on the parameters I just gave you, in order for us to start accruing points in the incremental ATV section, we must first reach 1,290,574, and we will receive our first point in the ATV section at 1,300,574. We will receive 1 point. So if we wanted to max out in the category of incremental ATV for 2016, which as you can see is 40 points, we would need to have 400,000 ATV over last year's. So we would need, for Jennifer's Business Center, we would need 1,690,574 in order to max out in ATV. Now, it does not count for your Elite 10 or the top coach for those. Personal sponsored coach PV. So basically what that means is for personal coach PV, for every amount of 500 PV your current year coaches receive, you will receive one elite point or one Premier Elite ranking point for that person. And it's accumulative. So let's say that Jason received 250 and Jennifer received 270 for the month of February, giving you a net gain of 520. That would be 1 point because your total amount for those two people for the current year ranked over the 1 point. Now, this does not max out for Premier, which means you can have as many in this category. However, if you are going for Elite, you can have a maximum of 61 points in this category. Okay, so that is for current year coaches. This does not count for anyone that is prior. Next you have, or last you have, the personally sponsored Coach Success Club. Okay, let's go ahead and highlight that. For the personally sponsored Coach Success Club, for every person that you signed either in the current year or in the previous year that reaches Success Club, you will receive 1 point per person with no maximum. If you achieve Success Club for the current month, they will actually double that. For example, let's say that you had 3 qualifying coaches hit Success Club for this month and you hit Success Club, you would get 6 points in your Elite or Premier point system. If you did not reach Success Club, it would just be 3 points. So this is obviously the area where you can gain the most amount of points in this category. For Premier, it does not max out. You can have as many points in this category as possible. In Elite, it maxes out at 61 points. Okay, so using this as examples, how do we know if we're on track for Elite? As you can see, this was done as of, let's see, this was done as when was this report ran? I just thought I saw this. This report was ran on 2/29/16. So what's the first thing that we know from this? We know that in January and February, we have received at least 2,000 volume points from personal volume from 2016 coaches. Okay, so since Jennifer primarily just signs coaches, every time that coach gets a reorder of their Shakeology, it's 90 PV for that person. So for example, if your coach stays active 5 months on Shakeology, or let's call it 6 months for easy math, if that coach, even if they're not working a business and never refer anybody, as long as they stay on Shakeology for 6 months, that would be 1 point just for that one person. Now understand, if you sign a lot of coaches, then that would obviously accumulate faster, and it's a general, not just per person. So we know that we have so far received 4 points in personally sponsored coach, and we know that we have had 16 points in Success Club. So since Jennifer has hit Success Club 10 in both January and February, it doesn't matter whether it's 5 or 10, in January or February, we know that from this that she's had 8 people cumulative reach Success Club in January and February. I think we had 3 people reach Success Club that qualified in January, and I think we had 5 people reach Success Club that qualified in February, and I think we're going to be on track for 5 again in March. So congratulations to those people. So based on this, we can almost do some math, which is what comes from this. This is where it gets fun and complicated. So from there, let's just say that we stay on. We know that we need, I believe it's 135. Okay, I believe it's 135 points for Elite in 2016 at the time of this video. So we know that 162, which is your total where you'd max out in every single category, we know something. We know that 162 minus 40 is 122. Okay, so if we, obviously it would have been easier if we just did 61 times 2, but obviously we know that we can only receive 122 points if we max out in personally sponsored PV and Success Club PV, and Success Club points. This is for Elite. There is no max for Premier. Okay, so we know to reach the 135, we have to have at least 13 points in the incremental ATV. Now, this is without the multipliers, and you can actually click on, I believe it's this one will actually tell you. This one doesn't say it, but in your FAQs, you will get shown the multipliers, meaning if you advance a certain amount of diamonds in the current year, they will actually multiply the ATV, making it so you don't have to. Let's say you don't have that. Let's just say you have the minimum. You know that you're going to need 13 points in incremental ATV and max out in the other two categories. So that means that you're going to need a minimum of 133,000 ATV for the current year over the previous year in order to get those 13 points. Okay, so that's what we know from there. And I apologize if my math is off, but I don't have a script. So, but I believe I'm right. So we know that we're going to need at least that. So that gives you an idea of how you get the volume. How do we get volume? Well, it's encouraging other people to sign coaches and to work their businesses, and you receive ATV off of all of that. Okay, so obviously the more coaches that you have and the more people that are working their business, the more you're going to accrue volume. And that's left and right leg. It's not just a weak leg, but they do have to belong to your organization. They have to relate to your organization. So your upline doesn't assist with those. Okay, so we know we need that. Now, how can we decide if we're on track? Well, based on current, at this rate, let's say that we have 16 points in Personally Success Club. So let's divide 16 by 2. We get 8. If we did 8 times 12, we have 96 points. We know that we max out at 61 points in the elite section for elite and Success Club points. So at the current rate, as long as we kept at the current rate that we're in, we already know that we had more people hit Success Club in February than we did in January, we would then max out in this category. So at current rate, this category is solid. Let's do 4. 4 divided by 2 is obviously 2. So if we did 2 times 12, you get 24. Obviously, we know that 24 is a long way from 61. So where do you want to be? You want to get to the numbers. So in order to get there, we've got 60. We do 61 minus 4. That gives us 57 points we need to max out in this category. There are 10 months left in the year. 10 months left in the year since it's March. Now, of course, the March numbers are kind of already there at the time of this video. It's the 29th. So the March numbers there, but we don't know what they are. So let's just assume March is in play. So we divide that by 12. Divide that by 10. This gives us 5.7. So we know in order to max out in PV to make elite, we need to get an average of 5.7 personal volume from our 2016, which is current year, coaches, which if we multiply that by 500, we need an average, and this is an average, of 2,850 personal volume for current year qualifying coaches. Now understand, it starts over. So since it started off at 0 in January, it makes sense that we would have had very few points in January. But since we signed almost everyone as coaches, right, that gives us a much better chance of hitting it. If you're a person that does not sign a lot of coaches and you choose to sell challenge packs, you're probably going to be very short in this category unless the people that you do sign become rock stars. Because we sign everyone as a coach, we don't need as many rock stars to emerge because we are getting volume, personal volume off of everyone that has a Shakeology order. But if you just sign a customer, the 90 PV goes into your account, not into that person's. So if you're watching this and you're not one of our 2016 current year qualifying coaches, that volume doesn't count for anybody, right? Because you don't qualify for your upline and you don't qualify for yourself. So this is another big reason why it's so advantageous to sign coaches over customers, because every time that person reorders or even orders Shakeology, you basically are 1/5 of the way to the 1 point. So we know that we need this per month. So we know that we've got to ramp up our personal sponsored coach PV. So we need to sign more coaches, and we need to start getting more of our 2016, I should say current year coaches working their business. Now this will happen as the year goes on. So you'll see PV start to rise. It's always low in the beginning. But starting the year for us, I will say we've been elite 3 times. We have never been at 20 points come the first 2 months. Last year, and we were talking to Arnold, who is our corporate representative that helps Jennifer, works with her personally. Last year, he got on her a little bit because when they had their meeting in March, she only had 10 points, okay, which is really low for someone saying that they want to reach elite. But as you know, the story unfolded, and Jennifer did make elite and actually had more elite points than she ever had. So even if you're someone that's sitting with 10 or even less elite points, that's okay. We were there last time too. But we did end up, because we started signing everybody up as coaches, we really picked up in the PV. Incremental ATV. This is where it gets a little complicated. Out of everything last year, we did not come close to maxing out in ATV. We just didn't. We had a little bit lower of an ATV week, of an ATV year, but that's okay. Let's do the math. How do we know if we're on track to receive ATV points? Now, this is going as if you're an established coach. Okay, so let's do some math right here. Let's clear this out. We had previous years of 1,290,574. Current year is 229,324. We know this is as of 229. So we'll pull up our calendar that I have right here, and let's get out of March. All right, let's go. This is my calendar. So we have right here, it ended on the 29th, so we know that it's not counting any volume from the pay on the 3rd. Depending on how you look at it, I count them as Thursdays. Some people count them as Wednesdays. But I've already pre-looked at this, and I know that it wouldn't make a difference week-wise. So how many weeks are we looking at that ATV is counted as of? And, of course, there's going to be a little bit on the 26th through the 29th. But let's just use it for easy math of 25. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that this is accumulating, besides for those couple of days, of 8 full weeks of pay. So what I want to do is I want to take my calculator and I want to do 229,324 divided by 8. I get 28,665.5 as our average weekly volume right now. And of course, I think right now we're at, I think for this week, I saw on the first screen, I think we're just almost 40,000 or 36,000. So we're above the average right now. So your volume usually goes up as the year goes on. But let's just say that it was 28,665. Okay, and that is the number that we're currently tracking on as your average. Now we want to know how that would project, all things remaining equal. So let's multiply this by 52. We get a total of 1,490,606. Okay, so if everything remained constant, that is what we would end the year with. So I want to know how much over previous year ATV that is. So I'm going to minus this number by 1,290,574. And I come up with the number of 200,032. Now we know that I get 1 point for every number, 1 point for every 10,000 over previous year. So we know that as of right now, all things remaining constant without new releases or new people that we're adding or the new momentum, as of right now, I believe, unless the team goes down, and God, we're working coaches. We're not expecting to go down, especially because that would be a decrease of where we are now. So all things remaining minimally constant, we'd be looking at 20 points in the incremental ATV section. And here's where it'll get a little discouraging. We're averaging that about every 2 months. So we're not going to see one single point show up in the incremental ATV section until at least October. Okay, but if we have a great, let's speak positively. I believe in September we're gonna pass last year's number in September. I'm putting it out there right now. Okay, so but you're gonna see 0 in that number. So there's newer coaches that don't have to meet the previous number that'll start receiving ATV volume a lot quicker. Let's just say you just started last year and you built momentum and you're going into this year and you have momentum, you're going to reach your ATV of last year much quicker than we are. But I say we're going to get to September, okay? It would be great for August, but let's just say September before we reach that number. So this number right here is going to sit at 0. So we know we're going to be at 20. I know that we're going to do what's necessary since we sign everyone as coaches to add in the PV. So if I do 61, obviously, times 2 is 122 plus 20 from what I believe we're going to be over at the current ranking. We're going to be at 142. As of right now, we're going to end up this year at 142 points towards elite. So we're going to have approximately 7 points to spare. Now, of course, if we're going for top 200 like we are, I believe last year, I believe it was 155 or something like that, top coach, the 200th coach had. So it's still not enough to reach that person. And we also know that as the network gets bigger and bigger and people get more acclimated to the systems, number 200 is going to rise and the bar is going to be that much higher. But we do know as long as we can maintain the 5-star diamond, we can advance 2 coaches to diamond and have them qualify in December, and we can stay on track like we're doing, that we will be a 4-time elite coach. So let's say that you don't have these numbers in place. You know what you need to get to. The very first thing is to look at your previous year's ATV and start from there. The second one is to see who got Success Club on your team and who possibly could get Success Club on the team. And even if you don't have one single person reaching Success Club, make sure that you're doing it. Remember, even if you've got one person and you make it, that's a doubler in the points. I have seen, and even now, if you end up, let's say, being a late bloomer and you really start to gain traction in June or July, it may not help you for elite, but it'll definitely help you for premier, because remember, there's no max out in the points. So if you start getting 5 or 6 people hitting Success Club, right? Let's say in July, let's just say, for example, you're hitting Success Club in July. You start getting 6 people hitting Success Club in July, right? That's 12. July, August, September, October, November, December. 12 people, right? 12 points times 6. Already that's 72 points right there, not counting your ATV, not counting your PV. So you can see how the numbers come in. That's not even counting until July. So, but for those people that are really making a serious push for elite or premier, or really are wondering if they need to put it on their goal board, I challenge you to really start right now and look at your numbers. This is a numbers game. Okay, ask anyone who's been elite on our team. Jennifer Greenberg is a 3-time elite coach. Jenna is a 2-time elite coach, and you can ask either one of them. Neither one of them really discuss the analytics of the business too much, but when it comes to marking your elite, you've got to. That's why they set it up like this. You're elite because you're above all others. Okay, so you've got to know your business. You've got to be a professional. You've got to be an expert in your field. And that includes knowing these things. If you don't know your numbers and you don't know your requirements, how the heck are you going to know your goal? Okay, just because you want it or wish it doesn't mean you're doing what's necessary to get it. I know exactly what number we need every single month, and that way I know if we're under, we can correct it, and we can start to make that shift. Guys, I hope this video was helpful and informative. I know I threw a lot of information out at you. Please post below any comments, any questions that you have. If I put you to sleep, wake up. It's over. You got through it. Thank you very much, guys. Our goal is to have 3 people make elite on our team. And in all honesty, being a 3-time elite going on 4, that's kind of low. But I believe we can have 3 people make elite and at least 3 people make premier for 2016 for the Fit Family Network. Guys, I appreciate it. And post below any questions.